Welcome to the Smart Black Girl Podcast. Who am I? Just an average smart black girl. Hello and welcome back, my lovely Smarticle particles. I am honestly hoping to upload more consistently now that my busy season has slowed. In the last episode, I gave a small life update and I'm back to give another one. This one is about my struggles with drugs and alcohol. I decided to do a drug and alcohol fast, so no wine or edibles for what was supposed to be 30 days. What turned out happening was I did a full edible fast and a very short wine fast. Well, if you count 15 days as full. So how did I get here? Well, just like before, I was going to find God to see what He wants for my life. You're going to have to forgive me for my clumsiness on this journey to the Lord. Anyway, what made me start my fast? I decided to start my fast while doing a Bible study one day. The topic of the study was advancing to royalty. This study reviewed biblical verses that explain my identity as royal blood of the King. Things like how I should behave and how to view myself. Somehow in my confusion during this Bible study, I came across 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 1 through 11, which was not a part of the Bible study that I was doing that day. However, I took verse 3 specifically to mean that God wanted me to be of sober mind and spirit. As I now reread the Bible study of that day to write this episode, I'm gaining a much different perspective. I'm coming to realize that my chosen fast did not necessarily come from what I was studying, but in doing the Bible study, it brought me to a sound mind where the Lord could show me the verses that did inspire my fast. So what has been difficult about my fast? I have found it difficult to abstain from drinking wine and having edibles. I have been going through quite the battle within myself about whether or not this is what God wanted me to do at all. Can He even hear me, or is it even worth it? I was abstaining from something I enjoy at the chance that God could hear me. I've come to realize now that instead of coming to the Lord humbly, I was trying to force Him to speak with me in my own time. I feel I was being such a stubborn child and was getting upset because I could not hear God. What was I even trying to do? In my effort to make things happen on my schedule, I jumped into this fast head first and was frustrated when things did not go my way. I thought that I do Bible study almost every day. God is always on my mind, and if I offer this to Him, He must acknowledge me. I eventually got frustrated because I thought that I may not even be able to recognize His voice. This caused me to realize that I was not humbling myself before the Lord. What have I learned through this experience? I have learned that I'm extremely critical of myself. I also struggle with impatience and indifference to God. I have come to understand that it is time that I humble myself and give up control that I desire to have over everything. God does not work in my timing because His timing is perfect. Trying to force His hand is not something that I can do. I started to comprehend that though I thought I was doing this fast for God, I was actually doing it for myself. I was trying to say or do the right things to get God to notice me, like a child throwing a tantrum for attention. That's why I was struggling so much. I was attempting to complete something that I felt God had called me to do by relying on my own understanding and desires. I needed to stop trying to manipulate the situation and to trust that God knew what He was doing. I also had to remember that He was in control and that I just had to be patient. What does this all mean? Well, I reached out to a few of my siblings in Christ and asked about the verses that were plaguing my mind. Thoughts of 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 3 were causing me to proceed through my relationship with God out of shame and guilt. However, those that know the Lord will immediately know that those are not feelings given from the Spirit. So I decided that I will continue to humble myself before the King, give myself grace, and wait on His perfect timing so that I can release the negative ruminations that have been plaguing my body, spirit, and mind. This brings me to a song that helped me work through many questions during this period of my life. The song is called God on My Mind, featuring Brandy by the Walls Group. If you have time, I highly recommend listening to it and reading the lyrics. Bringing me to the end of this episode. I would love it if you could share your struggles with drugs, alcohol, or even your journey with God as a believer in Christ. Do you also try to check things off your God to-do list in an effort to get Him to notice you? Share below. Thanks for listening, my lovely Smarticle particles, and I hope to talk to you soon.